Only give $1,400 stimulus checks to those who take the vaccine. Cancel all student loans, says Bernie Sanders. And updates on that third stimulus check and when we can see it, all right here in this video. Let's go. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Drew Romeo with Freedom Nation. Just want to pop into another episode here. I want you guys vibe with me for a little bit. We're going to talk about exactly what's going on here, just the facts, all right? And of course, only with some of the things that I mentioned will be my opinion, but of course, I'm gonna be reading directly from the source, and I'll have all the links for the articles that I'm talking about down below in the description. And if I don't have one or I'm missing one, let me know in the comment section, I'll add it up ASAP, all right? So it says GOP congressman says give $1,400 stimulus checks to people who get the COVID vaccine. Now, when I first read this, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is not gonna sit well with the Americans at all. So let's go ahead and dive in and see exactly what is said about this. I'm gonna zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. So it comes to say from Representative Stivers says, I hope that the administration will look at that option because we actually buy something with our $1,400 and that's herd immunity, says Representative Steve Stivers. An interview with Yahoo Finance, which he just had. So of course, I'm not sure how that's gonna sit well because to have a recommendation where everyone who's going to get the vaccine is going to be the ones that are gonna be eligible to get this $1,400 stimulus check will be a really tough position to put a lot of people, to say the least. I think that there will be a lot of friction when it comes to this because there are a lot of people who are against vaccines, especially with the new vaccine, and they want to see it kind of play out a bit. And so I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. Let me know what you guys think in the description. I think this is one of the top ones that I think was going to ruffle some feathers. So if you think that this is going to be an issue, or do you think it's fair that everyone gets the vaccine, let me know down below. Let's go ahead and finish the rest of this. The article says here that President Joe Biden has called for the individual $1,400 stimulus check in the $1.9 trillion relief plan that he has set up, which some Republicans argue is too much money. And it says that the progressives say it's too little, and Stivers opposes additional stimulus checks as the proposal currently stands. So in my opinion, based on what this article and other articles I've read, is what they're saying is that the Republicans are going to be against this, and they're going to look to chop this $1.9 trillion stimulus plan down to about $1 trillion to maybe $1.5 trillion, just trying to trim the fat anywhere they can. But I think, you know, cutting down the fat anymore, it will just leave the people with not enough money to get by, right? So let's take a look at what Stivers says, because he does have a point, but I'm not sure how it's gonna sit with everyone out there, you know, especially what I just mentioned, you know, anti-vaxxers and vaxxers. The quickest thing we need to do if we really want to help the American people is to get this economy turned back on. So get people back to work, get kids back in school, which I know a lot of parents are happy about, right? And get ourselves some herd immunity. Get the vaccine distributed as quickly as we can and get that uptake rate up. That's why I'd be willing to accept a $1,400 stimulus check if people are willing to take the vaccine. So that's his point, and that's where he stands, and that is him right over there. And again, like, I see his point, but then again, I know that there would be a lot of people who are gonna be opposed to that because some people just don't feel comfortable with the current conditions of, like, you know, with the vaccine being so new, and some people don't trust it just yet. And to have it to be, you know, standing in the way between your $1,400 stimulus check, which people need obviously to get by, because there's some people who haven't been working since last year in March, since they've been laid off due to the pandemic and situation. But now here we are having another roadblock where some people might just say, hey, let me just get the vaccine and be done with it. And some people may not be as comfortable. So with that being said, we'll see how this plays out. The next thing that we want to talk about is the student loans and the cancellation of them. Of course, from my man, Mr. Bernie Sanders. I do gotta say real quick though, Bernie Sanders has been one of my favorite characters, literally, that's sitting up on Hill right now. He's like been memed countless times. If you guys haven't seen it, just go on YouTube and go on, I don't know, Facebook. You're gonna see his memes all over the place. It's hilarious to me how they caught him so perfectly, and they're like putting him in all these memes now. But Bernie Sanders says, let's cancel student loans and pass $2,000 stimulus checks without Republicans' help. Now again, this, I mean, whoever's writing these titles and these headlines, because this is well done. After reading this article, you get to see his position. And now Bernie says that Congress can cancel student loans and pass $2,000 stimulus checks without Republicans. And is he right? Partially, given that the numbers are what they are. In an opinion column, Sanders says Democrats who control both Congress, right, and the White House can pass the following legislation now. And here's the list: $2,000 stimulus checks, student loan cancellations, $600 a week unemployment insurance, and fully funded emergency healthcare, COVID testing, tracing, and vaccine distribution. We're not done yet. 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave, universal pre-K, tuition-free college at public colleges and universities, which I've heard floated around for quite some time, so who knows. And of course, the coveted minimum wage of $15, which I already talked about. If you guys missed it, I made the video. Check out the video. The card is up here. If you also can check the link in the description for that video talking about minimum wage and unemployment benefits for those of you guys who are concerned about that. But I think it's a really lofty goal that he has here. And let's see how possible it is. It says that, you know, how possible can it be for that the Congress can cancel student loans and pass $2,000 stimulus checks? So while Congress can pass standalone legislation or incorporate these policies into new stimulus package, Saunders says there are more simpler, more efficient ways to do this. So now with that being said, is Joe Biden, who's our current president, gonna go for this? Now, we don't know 100%, but here's what we do know as far as what they agree upon, right? So President Joe Biden does support student loan cancellations and $2,000 stimulus checks. We're good so far. For student loans though, Biden has called on Congress to cancel student loans immediately, right? While Sanders supports canceling all $1.7 trillion student loan debt, Biden supports getting the $10,000 across the board canceled and not the entire student loan debt, right? So with that would cost to go $10,000 across the board for federally backed student loans. Again, I touched upon this on my last video. Go ahead and check that out. It's gonna cost about $400 to $450 billion, and that's lower, way lower than $1.7 trillion, right? And so that's a cheaper bill to cut off instead of the $1.7 trillion, which would obviously be a heavy hit. Biden has proposed a $1.9 trillion stimulus package, but did not include any student loan cancellation within there. But it's not too late for him to add it. He can add it into the bill since the bill is new and it's still being approved as we speak. But how possible is it now that, you know, obviously we know cutting student loans is, I would say, urgent, important, but it's not a priority. I think it's more of a priority for people to get the money that they need in their pockets, because as we know, $600 does not go a long way, right? For families who have multiple mouths to feed and families that have, you know, literally just working class, maybe essential workers who just are able to just have enough to barely make by, and like if there are spouses involved that are unable to work, then one spouse is taking over the entirety of the housing bills and essentials and food and groceries. It's just a really tough situation for $600 to cover. So there are a lot of Americans who feel the same way as well. There's a lot of conversation about, is this enough? Can we make it through? And of course, the truth of the matter is we all know $600 can only take you oh so far. So when can we expect the new stimulus checks to come through? Now, of course, there is gonna be some pushback because we also know that the Republicans are not a huge fan, right? And so here you can see the price tag for the relief package called for the American Rescue Plan is likely to face pushback from the Republican lawmakers, who last year they resisted Democratic efforts to pass the $2 trillion bill. And Heights security analyst Hunter Hammond expects the ultimate package to be trimmed, like we mentioned earlier, to $1.9 or $1.5 trillion. But most analysts think lawmakers on both sides of the aisle will back the $1,400 direct payments, which everyone I think will appreciate, which economists view as a lifeline for many cash-strapped workers who lost their jobs or have seen their income plummet during the pandemic. And that is no stretch of the truth. So are the checks a done deal? Well, according here to this article, very likely. According to the Wall Street and political analysts, there are growing supports among Republican lawmakers for additional stimulus directed toward low and middle income households. So yes, with the latest efforts to pass $2,000 stimulus checks winning some bipartisan support, which is great, there is an 85% chance a scaled down package will be passed for the first 3 months of 2021. So this is all predictions that are being made from Heights Security's Hammond. He says, we believe there is support for a smaller package that includes the $1,400 checks, more health care funding, and support for small businesses and some state and local aid, says Mills. So when can we expect this check to drop? And this is what we've been waiting for. So Alex Phillips, who's chief US political economist with Goldman Sachs, says, He thinks that the package could be passed mid-February to March, and that is about the time frame that I mentioned before. I said mid-February to about first week of April, and that I still think rings true. And he actually brought this up as well, which is very, very important and very cool to know that we have the projections kind of literally on point. But will it happen in the exact time frame? We just don't know yet. So he says, after the relief bill passes Congress, it must be signed by the president. And after that, the IRS would distribute the funds through direct deposit, mail checks, and prepaid debit cards. And again, like I mentioned, if you guys have whatever payment method you had previously with your last taxes, however you filed and however you received a refund, that's going to be the method that they're going to use. So if that's not updated, please do update it. If you have not by this point received the $600 stimulus check that just passed in December and was distributed all the way through January 15th or 17th, then you need at this point to go ahead and go on to the irs.gov webpage. It's going to be in the link in the description below. It's going to be the rebate that you need to claim in your 2020 taxes, and you'll be having that stimulus check amount rebated back to you or credited back to you through a refund on your taxes. So again, I covered this in one of my videos. Check the link down below, and also the card up here is gonna pop up. Click that so you don't miss another update, guys. Please stay tuned for the next video. I will be covering some more stuff and keeping you guys up to date as we see fit. I'll see you guys later. Freedom Nation out. Peace.